because title like the mimer that we learned last week. But last week the mimer, which was Chamish Keninim, was a mimer said on Shabbos Parshas Bamidbar. It was also like the same kviyas this year, which was average Chodesh Sivan. This mimer begins the same way, and as a continuation, and he'll review in the beginning some of the things that we learned in the previous mimer. But this mimer was said Shavuos early morning. The Rebbe in the earlier years used to come out Shavuos early morning to say a mimer. He would be staying to Yom Tov in 770. So he came out after Tikkun time in the morning, right around Aloysa Shachar, and say a mimer. So this mimer is a mimer that Rebbe said in Tavshvit Beis in the morning, and it's a continuation and also review of some of the things that we learned in the previous mimer by Mas. Four acquisitions Hashem acquired in His world. Torah Kinyan Echad, Mayim V'Aretz Kinyan Echad, Avram Kinyan Echad, Yisrael Kinyan Echad, Beis Hamikdash Kinyan Echad. All these five things that he enumerates. What are the kinyanim of Hashem in the world? In Torah Minayin, how do we know that Torah is a kinyan? Like it says, maybe rayas from psukim shekala chamish nekrayim b'shem kinyan. And he brings rayas from psukim that all the five things, all the five acquisitions that they all these five things that we enumerated, they're all called kinyan. In his bar leil, it's explained in the previous mimer that we learned. Said that Hashem acquired this world. Specifically, that says His world. He's negated. Not only is he negated the worlds of Bia, which is a world of separation, because over there it's already two separate entities. There's Hashem and there's the created beings. In the worlds of Bri Yitzirasiyah, there's room to make a mistake that there are two domains, heaven forbid, that there's Hashem and there's Chas v'Shalom, something other than Hashem. Even the world of Atzilus is not considered yet Olamai. That's still not His world. It's still not completely joined with it. We know that it is joined with the Eibishter Kiyav Shalom Atzilus V'Olam Ha'ach. Though the world of Atzilus is called the world of oneness and unity, because we say about Atzilus, he is one with the Oiris of the spheres, and He is one with the Kalim, Kol Makim. Still in all, it's still not the total oneness with Hashem. Yes, but His Chalk is the Bechinas Ihu, Bechinas Chayoyu, Bechinas Karmoy. The very fact that there's a division. There is Him, the Oiris of. There's the Chayoyi, which is the Oiris, which are saying are joined with Him. And there's the Ihu and the Garmoyi, and there's the bodies, the Kalim. So therefore, that itself indicates division. It's not utmost and total unity. And also another thing that indicates not completely His world. So too, there's a division of 10 spheres. So all of these things that shows on division and separate and parts and multiplicity, even though they're in kedusha and even though they're connected with Him. So therefore, the true idea of His world is referring on to a level that's beyond Atzilus. In the form of Kabbalah, it's called Akudim. What is the idea of Akudim? All of them are included and part of one vessel. The Chassidus explains, Kabbalah explains, it's Eser, Oiris, 10 lights, but they're all bound together in one kelim. Therefore, that is called Eilamai because that is considered united. The Rebbe goes on the next paragraph. According to this, is also explained that the idea of Torah is one acquisition. The effect of the acquisition is not just in Torah the way it descended to the worlds of Bia. There it's understood. You need to acquire it. You need to bring it back into His world because it descended into the worlds of Bri Yitzir Asiyah. And that descent is Hochel my Yeridam, Atzilus to Bria, beginning from the descent of Atzilus to Bria, that already over there. As soon as it makes that transition and it goes from Atzilus to Bria, you already need to make sure and bring it back to Olamai, to his world. And concerning that descent from Atzilus to Bria, Shalzen, I'm not concerned because it says, concerning this Torah in Atzilus that you taught us in Bria, like we brought from the Arizal about this lashon that we say in benching, but until the Torah comes down really low, like you read the lamatali slabs before and the way the Torah descends below to become enclosed in physical objects, the Mitzrayim Yeradim that you descended to Mitzrayim v'chulu. So that is one level of Kinyan Torah, of acquiring Torah, bringing it up lo'ilamai, lahaloisa, lo'ilam atzilus, to elevate it to the world of Atzilus. And the world of Atzilus, we said, is also called Shenikra Kinyan. It's called the world of Kinyan. Why? Because, well, I just don't explain why, but we have the lashon that we say in Kiddush Levana, Baruch Koinech, Baruch Boidach, Yotzrach, Isach, that the worlds of Bri, Yitzira, Asiyah, and then there's the world of Atzilus, called Kinyan. Why is the world of Atzilus called Kinyan? Just like the simple idea of a Kinyan chain, it's only going out from one domain to another domain. The matter that was initially in the possession of the seller now comes up revealed by the buyer. So this idea indicates it's not a new creation, something from nothing. It's only a revelation of that which was concealed. That's the level of the world of Atzilus. So that which was concealed in Ein Sof is now revealed in Atzilus. So that is the basic idea of Kinyan, bringing the Torah up from the level of Biyat to Eilami Vatzilus. But we said before that the true level of Eilama is not Natzilus. The true level of Eilama is higher than Natzilus. So we speak about Kinyan Torah, we are talking about bringing Torah up even to a level higher than Natzilus. Line 10. Gamba Torah Kvishi Boil Matzilus, also in Torah the way it's in the world of Atzilus. Nasas pulls Akinyan La Lois La Dargish Matzilus becomes the effect of the Kinyan. To elevate it to a level that's higher than Atzilus, Olam Moy Daika, a level that's his world. And we already said before that Olam Moy, his world, must be higher than Atzilus, but it has to be completely united with him, has to be a complete Achdus more than the Achdus of Atzilus. So now he brings in a pasuk, which he didn't bring previously. Here is like a new elaboration on something that he didn't say before. Concerning the Torah, it says, I will be by the Torah a training thing, or it will be that the Eibishter is like the like a nursemaid, or taking care of the Torah very close. The and I was a plaything, an enjoyable thing by the Eibishter day after day, a toy like. So these two descriptions about Torah, the Torah says ve'eya etzloi amay, and also ve'eya shashuyim yom yom, shem shtei madregas b'Torah. These refer to two levels of Torah. Ve'eya shashuyim yom yom, I will be a plaything day and day. Kayal darksat Torah shallah namar alpaim shana chad Torah lo'ila. This is referring to the level of Torah, that about the level of Torah, it says 2,000 years the Torah preceded the world. Why does the 2,000 years indicate Yom Yom? He says, Shizel Yom Yom. The reason why it's day and day is the Yom Shalkash Baruch Hu Eluf Shana, because the day of Hashem is 1,000 years, like it's indicated in Tehillim. So therefore, when we say Eyatz L'Shashuyim Yom Yom, it's referring to the levels of Alpaim Shana. And what is a level of Alpaim Shana coming to the 2,000 years? So there's no time over there, so obviously we're not talking about literal years. It says in line 18, Alpaim L'Shoin Alef Chokma Alef Bina. It says in the pasuk, I will teach you Chokma, I will teach you Bina. So that's the two alpayim, or the two elefs, which is alpayim, 2000s, or two elefs, two levels of teachings and learnings. That's the level of Chachma bin Atzilus. So when we say the level of Shashuim Yom Yom, it's referring to the 2 days of Chachma bin Alpayim Shana Kadam Torah Lord. Where it says, I will be by him an Amoin Koyal Dargas HaTorah K'Pishil Amaylam Atzilus. It's referring to the level of Torah, the way it's higher than Atzilus. Shalzen Namar concerning that level Torah, the way it's higher than Atzilus, says by he Koyal Me'al Rakia, and there was the sound and the voice from above the firmament, the heavens. Koyal HaTorah. The level of sound is referring to Torah, like we find also Chazal talk about that the Torah was nitna b'chamisha koilos with the different sounds of Hashem. The koil me'al rakia, and the sound that's from above and higher than the rakia. Koyal dargas haTorah k'pishilamaylam rakia d'olam atzilus. It's referring top of page. It's referring to Torah the way it's higher even than the rakia of the world of Atzilus. So we see the Rebbe brought in a new pasuk, that this pasuk indicates the same thing that we had before, that there's a level of Torah, the way it's even higher than the world of Atzilus. Let's learn another paragraph, line 3 on page Ches. Again, the Rebbe is saying, referring back to what we learned from the previous Maimon. In addition to this, that it was explained about the Shepulus Hakinim B'Torah, Nasai the Avodas Adam Davke, the effect of the acquisition and Torah that we elevated all the way to the world of Akudim. It comes and happens specifically through the avoid of a person. Though at the beginning of creation, everything was because Hashem desired to do kindness. So therefore, He gave us things that were way higher than what it was, than anything we did, because we actually didn't do anything. But after doing this, after the time of Matan Torah B'frat, or after the beginning of creation of B'frat Lacher Matan Torah, especially after the giving of the Torah, Nasin Kol Yon Ma'Yavadosim Shal Yisrael Davke, all matters are accomplished that avoid of Yidden specifically. So the Torah Kinyan Echad Chol Yisrael Kinyan Echad. That's why the order of things goes. First, we talk about Torah being an acquisition of Hashem, and then afterwards we talk about Yisrael being an acquisition of Hashem. Why? Because one is dependent upon the other. Through the avoid of Yid, that they affect within themselves the level of Kinyan. They affect also the idea of Kinyan in Torah as well. And they make Torah be raised up to that level that was there prior to their avodah without their doing, but now, after Matan Torah, we need to do it and we need to accomplish it. So that is the general idea of Kinyan Torah. We didn't apply it concerning the level of the Darga that's higher than Atzilus, but now the Rebbe is going to apply it to that level as well. Line 12. So to concerning the effect of Kinyan and Torah, to elevate it to a level that's higher in the world of Atzilus. This was the avoid of David HaMelech that says that David HaMelech would join the Torah of above with Hashem. This means the joining of Torah of above already, not the Torah the way it's our world. Torah the way it's in above, that means the Torah in Atzilus. The halus Torah sheba'olam Atzilus, the dargish olamaylam Atzilus, to elevate the Torah in the world of Atzilus to a level that's higher than Atzilus. How is that accomplished? Nasai the avodah shel David. This is accomplished specifically through the avodah of David. The avodah shel David hoisa ba'ifin shekabos eldav. Because the avodah of David was in the way of accepting the yoke of heaven. K'mayim, as all the Chazal say, Asher Gever Hukam Ol, it says over there in the pasuk. What does it mean? Hukam Ol Shehekim Ula Shel Tshuva. One explains that means that he raised up the yoke of tshuva, the kibbutz of all Torah and mitzvahs. Other Mefarshim explained that he accepted upon himself the yoke of Torah and the yoke of mitzvahs, which means essentially all of this is the avoid of Kabbalah soil. When a person has the level of the Kabbalah oil, through that, the acquisition becomes within himself, within David HaMelech himself. Therefore, he affected also the Kinyan, also in the Torah of above, to elevate it to a level that's higher than Atzilus, and to join it in Hashem. Now, essentially, what we learned up till now, is more or less a review of the ideas that we learned in the previous Maimer, plus a few further insights or elaborations on certain things that we said in the previous Maimer. Before we go on to His Beis, any questions? Okay, His Beis, line 25. Hinei klolos avodas shel Yisrael. General avodah of Yid shal yoda nasis pulos hakinyan, that through the avodah of Yidden becomes the effect of the acquisition. The avodas shel neshamas Yisrael b'shel yoda l'matli slash begufim daf. It's the avodah of Yidden, the way they descended down here in physical bodies. In who the idea behind this is the af yiridas on neshama l'mat yirid agdol v'yoser. Though the descent of the neshama down here below is a very great descent, still in all, you read the Zuit Tzarech Aliyah. This descent is for the sake of an ascent. Through its descent to become down here below, to become enclosed in the body. So then it reaches a much higher level than it was on its own before it descended down here below. Therefore, only specifically through its avoid and descending down here below to become enclosed in a body, does it affect the idea of kinyan, which would not be able to happen if the neshama had not descended so low to come down here in the body. So now the Rebbe asks an interesting question, and the question, even though the question is it's very common in many Mamar Chassidus, but the way how the Rebbe puts the question, he gives like a different spin on what the issue is. Essentially, he wants to know, how does it happen that an neshama, when it comes down here, can reach a more higher level than when it was above, and can elevate the Torah to a higher level than it was above. But the Rebbe is, like I said, going to add a new nuance to this, a little bit of a different approach to add and explain the difficulty of understanding how the neshama can do that while being down here below. Line 8, page 10. Explain the idea that only through the avoid of the neshama, by its descent down here below to become enclosed in the body, this Allah neshama dargin nihilus yoser, the neshama will become elevated to a much higher level than it was prior to its descent. Seemingly, it's not understood. It's known that all ascents come about through wings. Just like the wings of a bird causes the bird to fly, the same thing, every ascent that takes place happens through the idea of wings. That's the idea of love and awe of Hashem that are called wings. Through them becomes and takes place the ascent of the neshama. When we talk about the ascent of the neshama that takes place through the service of neshama when it descends down here below to become enclosed in the body, it's impossible to say that the ascent is through the actual inspiration of love and awe that occurs in the neshama when it was enclosed in the body. How come? What's the problem? We know that the love and awe of the neshama, while it's down here below, is no comparison whatsoever, no value whatsoever to the quality of the love and awe of the neshama when it was above in Gan Eden. Kimavur Betanya, let's explain in Tanya. Even if he's a complete sad, serving Hashem in awe and a great love, a love of delight. Lo yagia lemiles vekusi bavayim betchilu v'rechimu b'terem yidasu lo'im haza achumri. The neshama of this great tzaddik, having this great avodah, will not reach the level of his cleaving to the Eibishter with awe and love prior to the descent to this material world. Lo minov, lo miktsasa, not anything of it. Vein erech v'dimya v'neim klal. There's no comparison between them whatsoever. How come? What's the problem? Why can't he attain the same level of awe and love? That's because of the concealment and covering of the body, top of page Yud. So it affects an idea of being material and involved with ego and so on. And therefore, because the body, sticks that to the neshama, and therefore one cannot completely release themselves of that. Even through much avodah, a person cannot free himself from this totally. Even a tzaddik gomer that serves the Eibishter with awe and love of delight is not completely bottled mesias. But rather he's a separate entity. Yesh mishayev, someone who loves Hashem, someone that fears Hashem. So there's the I and the I that loves Hashem. There's the I, and that I is in awe of Hashem. So there's not complete bittul. So therefore, if my love and awe down here is incomparable to the love and awe below, the love and awe above in Gan Eden, and we said that what causes aliyahs, that's the love and awe, they are the wings that cause the elevation, being king of so, how is it possible to say? Through the inspiration and awakening of the love and awe of the neshama down here below. That have no comparison whatsoever to the love and awe of the neshama above. That the neshama will rise up to a much higher level than the way it was before it descended below. Then when it was above in Gan Eden, it had a much greater inspiration of love and awe, incomparably so. So therefore, since they are the wings, so these wings are not the same wings down here below as they are above. So the neshama should be rising up higher when it's above, because it has these much more powerful wings than the neshama the way it's down here below. Any questions before we start? Line 13, page Yud, is Gimel. Humans, this will be understood according to what it's known. The descent of the neshama down here below. It's in such a manner that not the entirety of the neshama becomes enclosed in the body. Only a ray, and only a part of the neshama becomes enclosed in the body. The core of the neshama and the essence of the neshama, remains in a transcendent way, an encompassing way over the body. This level of the neshama that is beyond the body, that's called by the Chazal Maz. In the Mazulai, it says that the people around the Nile trembled, even though they did not see his vision, because their mazal above so. Here the Rebbe introduces something that I don't think we've had in the mind before. That this idea that there's the mazel of the neshama that's not enclosed in the body and that's transcendent and encompassing the body is to be found in all the different levels of the descent of the neshama down here below. Shams Yisrael Ksiv, Bonim Atum Havayla Kech. By the Shamas of the Yidden, it says, we are children to Hashem your God. We are sons to Hashem your God, which means that, like the Alter Rebbe explains right away in Beis and Tanya, that means we came from Moyach Ha'av. We came from the Eibishter's brain, from Chacham Datzilus. But how did it come down here? And they descended through a chain descent. Through the path of the four worlds of Abiyah. That's how they came down to this world. Zem move on from this understood. Since the neshamas came down from the level of Atzilus down to this world, going through these four worlds, the Geshem should be the neshama lamatali slavish beguf, just like in the descent of the neshama down here below, become clothed in the body. Yes, no bechinas hamazel, shu bechinas hamakif shenishol love as a spirit, the malchus da'asiyah. There's the transcendent level, the makif level, that remains in the malchus of Asiya itself. There's 10 spheres. And that makif, that's the level that remains in the 10 spheres of malchus da Asiya. That's the level of the mazel of the neshama that remains encompassing the neshama outside of the body. So just like over there is that kach gam b'dargas haneshama ba'olam Asiya, so to the level of the neshama, the way it is in the world of Asiya, not in our world, but in the Olam Asiya, Ruchnis, Yesh Bechinas Hamazel Be'esas Firas the Malchus the Yitzira. That level, the Neshama, the way Neshama was still in the world of Asiya, there is the Mazel, or is in the world of Asiya, there is the Mazel, the way it's in Malchus of Yitzira. And so in the 10 spheres of the Malchus of Yitzira, the Chem Bedargas HaNeshama B'el Ma'itzira, Yesh Piers HaMazel, Best spheres the Malchus of Bria. And so to the level of the Neshama in the world of Yitzira, there's the Mazel in the 10 spheres of Malchus of Bria. Chem Bedargas HaNeshama B'el Ma'Bria, so to the level of Neshama in the world of Bria, Yesh Bechinas HaMazel, Best spheres the Malchus Datzilas, there's the Mazel level of that level of the Neshama, and that's in the 10 spheres of Malchus Datzilas. Until it goes all the way to its root, the level of Chachma of Atzilus. The level of Chachma Atzilus, or in general the level of Atzilus, that's the level of Tahirihi when we say Neshama Shnasatabi, Tahirihi Atabras, and Yitzatan Afakabi. So Tahirihi is the Neshama, the way it's Chachma Atzilus or Atzilus in general. Akiva Shem Neshama on the Besh Beguf. Yes, since the neshama that's enclosed in the body has the level of the mazel, it's the level of the neshama, that's the world of Asiya. Mazel shalah, that her mazel, the mazel of the mazel, is the level of the neshama, the way it's Yitzira. And then there's a mazel's mazel. That's the Adam B'chinas Tahiri, until the mazel's mazel. Adam B'chinas Tahiri Shabbat Nimtza comes out, Shanashama, Kvishiyard, when the Slapsha Beguf, the Neshama, the way it descended and became clothed in the body, it's not disconnected from Atzilus. Yesh la Kishar V'chibur, Gam B'chinas Tahiri Shabbat. It still has a bond and a union and a unity with the level of Torah that's not Atzilus. Then, I'm concerning this, it says, Yaakov Chevel Nachlasa, Yaakov is the rope of his inheritance. The comparison to a rope is, Kimoya Chevel, Ha'achos, V'kosher, Me'el Yolatach, like a rope that's tied and bound up from the top to the bottom. At that very moment when you shake and you move the lower end, at that very moment it moves also the higher end. So to the opposite. When you shake or move the upper end of the rope, automatically happens at the bottom end of the rope moves as well. Is that moving from this understood? When the Neshama down here below that's enclosed in the body is awakened with a love and awe of Hashem, this effect, an inspiration, an awakening of love and awe in all the levels of Neshama above, all the way up to the level of the Neshama that's Tahira, and every single level according to its level, it's nisoider because it's like all one row. Let's stop over here. Any questions?